Continuing our coverage of the 40th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War and its aftermath, we turn now to the Vietnamese American community in the U.S. The fall of Saigon precipitated a massive evacuation of U.S. servicemen and South Vietnamese out of the country. It was the largest helicopter evacuation in history. And in the years following the end of the war, about 2 million more Vietnamese left by boat, earning the moniker Boat People. Many died at sea and others ended up in refugee camps, a good portion of whom made their way to the U.S. Today, they make up the fourth largest group of immigrants of Asian origin in the U.S., clustering in California and Texas in particular. My guest is Dr. Natalie Newton, Vietnamese-American progressive activist and research affiliate at UC Irvine, who's worked on deportation, sexual violence, LGBT justice, and also the Trans-Pacific Partnership. She sits on the executive board of the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, and her research in Vietnam won a Fulbright scholarship and a national award from the American Anthropological Association. She's also taught Asian American Studies at Cal State Fullerton. Welcome to Uprising, Natalie.
Thank you for having me, Simone.
Thanks so much for joining us. Well, first, is it fair to say that the Vietnam War and the way it ended is the primary reason for why, for the presence of most Vietnamese Americans today, at least those who have been here for a while?
Yes, absolutely. The United States Census does record a few hundred Vietnamese immigrants to the United States prior to the war who are students studying abroad, but predominantly most of the Vietnamese American, which is now 3 generations in the United States, are here because of the war.
And how do most Vietnamese view their home country? There is, we know, a strong sense of anti-communism, which is understandable given the history.
Yeah, I think there's 3 main clusters of thought around how folks view Vietnam. Of course, there's a dominant viewpoint that Vietnam is a communist country, and it's this bitterness of leaving a state that betrayed them, and so refugees are across the world in the diaspora. There's also a narrative of a lot of folks going back and creating entertainment and music industry ties through Paris by Night, for example, which is a hugely popular variety show, and also other business transactions with coffee and other, electronics and other companies in Vietnam and the United States. And there's also folks who, like myself, second generation, who go back to Vietnam and try to understand the homeland, from our own points of view, not just the stories that were told from older generations.